This is Colin Dixon from N-Screen Media, and I'm here at NAB 2013, and I'm talking with Darren Feher, President and CEO of Conviva. So, Darren, many people may not know who Conviva is. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who Conviva is?
Yeah, many people may not know who Conviva is, but if you ever watch video on HBO Go or watch ESPN or MajorLeagueBaseball.com, the reason why the viewing experience is so much better there than on YouTube is because of us. So we're a technology company. We do stream optimization, but we do it in a very particular way. We make adjustments per person and preemptively to help avoid the things that all viewers hate, like buffering, stuttering, choppiness, grainy picture. And we know when we do that, people watch 2 times as much content as they would have otherwise. And so we've kind of stayed quiet for a little while, over the last 3 years. But and quietly we've amassed one of the largest footprints into what people are watching and streaming online. We're doing almost 4 billion streams a month. We see viewers in 240 countries, and what we're able to do is actually get people to watch more because the experience is better.
So one of those things, one of the ways you're helping sensitize the public to what's going on in streaming is by publishing your data. And some of that data is pretty mind-blowing. You gave a pretty extraordinary sum of money that's being walked away from by the industry because people aren't watching. Do you want to tell us about that number?
Well, we know that it's many billions of dollars every year. We think over 2 in the last 12 months. We think over the next 5 years, cumulatively it can approach 20. We think and that really comes from a couple different places. What we do with our customers is we look at what is the impact of quality on their actual business today. We typically see when we start working with great media brands that about 20% of their streams are unoptimal. And when we look at how long those people watch versus how long people who have a higher quality, uninterrupted experience watch, it's 2 to 3 times on average. So when you roll up all that across the large footprint I described, and you look at typical ad loads and typical subscriber charges, right? We know that the loss due to quality today is more staggering than people realize, and it's only getting worse because people are pushing more content simultaneously at higher and higher definition, and really the internet. Technologically, the building blocks were not really built for video. So TCP/IP is the worst protocol ever for delivering video.
You bet.
The lack of multicast, all these things that are foundational that now people are waking up to. Before we're just about quality for quality's sake. Now it's about, well, wait a minute. If I'm in business to hold viewers, if I don't make quality a major focus, I'm not going to be in business.
Right. It's going to cost them money.
That's right.
Now, one of the interesting things that I think we're both seeing in the market is the coalescing of the OTT infrastructure and the OTT market in general, right? Yeah. People are really getting serious about delivery in this environment.
Yeah, it's it's funny. OTT has been a promise for a long time. I think it was an infant up until probably this year, and now it's kind of in prepubescent stage, I think. But you can kind of see it's going to be an adult. I think that's kind of where we are. Yeah. But there's too much complexity. There's too many ecosystem partners, lack of standards, all those things which always happens when the model shifts. Has to be made simple for service providers, for operators, for content companies. And one of the reasons why we're here at NAB is because we're really trying to do alliances with ecosystem partners to make all the pieces in between the viewer, which we sit by in the application, and the source of content, to make that less likely to cause something that hurts a viewer. So we do partners with content delivery networks, with online video publishing platforms. We've announced a relationship with the platform. We've got relationships with CDNs like Telefonica and Level 3 and Limelight. And so because it takes all those things to work in tandem to make sure that people will watch more, the monetization will be spread appropriately, and that the consumer actually gets a high quality product.
And it seems like you have a pretty unique value prop, because unlike many other people that are just going after the streaming piece, you're actually going after the quality. That's right. and making sure that what gets delivered is consistent and of the quality that will keep consumers engaged. That's pretty unique.
That's exactly right. I mean, our value proposition is simple. It's put this little piece of software in your video player, and I'll generate double-digit lift, increase in viewing and monetization for you instantly, and I'll wrap that in second-by-second viewer analytics so that you can make all kinds of decisions, from targeting to diagnostic, et cetera, to run a more efficient business. Really aimed at how do we make this a higher margin overall proposition than it's been in the past.
One of the things that really raised my eyebrows was when you announced the HBO deal. 6 years. I don't think I've ever heard a deal that long in OTT.
I think it's got to be the longest right now. We're really proud of that relationship for a lot of reasons, not only because HBO Go is critically acclaimed for the experience, for the quality of the viewing experience in that app specifically, but also because they are really leading in terms of the models and reaching consumers. I mean, first with their affiliate model, they're doing all kinds of other things internationally. And what this signifies is that, one, the relationship we have with them, that what they don't think this is just an experiment, OTT, it's core to their business, it's the next generation business. Two, they can't compromise the quality of their experience. And three, when they find a sophisticated technology that guarantees their connection with that viewer in a technical way, they want to be in a relationship for a long time because they're not going anywhere. HBO Go is not going anywhere. So 6 years in the internet, in streaming, I don't think it's ever been heard of with a tech company to a great rights holder like HBO.
That's forever, and I really think that's a very, very solid point. One of the things that's come home to me is that particularly content providers are beginning to understand how important OTT is going to be in their livelihood going forward. And one of the things I love about HBO is that they've sort of stepped out, as it were, and for the first time delivered service direct to consumer. So they've done that, of course, in the Scandinavian market with HBO Nordic. And it seems like there's a sensitivity now that they should be looking at the best delivery mechanism that there is. If that's with a pay TV provider, great, but if it's not, if it's with broadband, sure, that's probably the way to go, right?
Well, I think not just HBO, any rights holder, anybody whose job it is to reach audiences and hold them for a long period of time, first of all, has to be maniacally focused on the quality of the experience. HBO is too, but it's not limited to them. Second, I think that there's still, a lot of experimentation that's being done and has to be done on what's the right packages and business models. There's a whole generation of cord nevers that are still coming, and they consume a lot of video. And so I think any business, any content provider who wants to be in business in the next decade has to consider that. And so I think certainly there are relationships that have existed, and there's business models in different countries that are certainly going to force, let's say, a comprehensive review. But in the end, the internet has disrupted many different things, and it's very pro-consumer, and the consumer is going to vote with their mouse and with their pocketbook or with their ability to do a subscription, and they're going to differentiate on quality, and they're going to need different models.
Even Nielsen seems to have woken up to the fact that there are people out there that don't have TV subscriptions but are watching TV with their amusingly titled Zero TV customers, right? Yep. 5 million of them. And the reason I think that it's amusing is they're watching plenty of TV. It's Absolutely. Just not coming from broadcast.
We found an interesting thing. We did, actually it was 2 years ago, was the first time, it was the Super Bowl. So it was the first time ever the Super Bowl, American icon, was ever streamed simulcast online. NBC had it 2 years ago. And so what we found, they came to us and they said, well, we don't know if it's going to be big or little, but we want to make sure the quality is good either way. Right? I said, it's not going to be that big, right? And interestingly enough, they did some pretty decent numbers, even though it's Sunday, right, at home, large screen TV, you're sitting around with your wings. What we found when we looked at the data was that there was a large percentage from .edu. So universities, .mil, but you start thinking about that for a second, and that's interesting. What they did, the kind of peak concurrent viewers that would have been unheard of 5 years ago for an online streaming event, and it was dominated by effectively a different demographic. And to me, that was a wake-up call. Certainly not ubiquitous yet, but we shall see.
Well, there we have it in the data. That we're actually seeing the transition. Darren, thank you so much for coming by. We could have talked for a long time about this. I'm sure we'll have plenty of opportunities in the future. Thanks.
It's a pleasure.
This has been Colin Dixon, and I'm with Nscreen Media. Thank you.